So good morning to you all. For journey to understand notes as well as the codes, we have tried to learn some of them, and today we can be looking at another codes. I hope that we can get a better understanding for that to this webinar. Let me share the slides, and it is about the Cholesterinum. So this is Cholesterinum. So what is Cholesterinum? We have to see what actually we mean by the Cholesterinum. This Cholesterinum is a proximate principle that is we call the epithelium. You see the photograph, the epithelium lining of the gallbladder and the large ducts. You see the epithelial, the outer lining that is called the epithelial lining. So this is the epithelial lining, and this lining has been tried to been potentialized and developed as a homeopathic medicine. So, yes, and this is the basically epithelial lining of the gallbladder as well as the large ducts. Then the Cholesterinum gallbladder epithelium is the most intensely investigated area of the GI tract in relation to water transport, in part because of its relatively easy to study, consisting of a simple, relatively flat epithelium with a large tubercle cells that are homogeneous in size and functions of the purpose. Why this Cholesterinum and gallbladder linings are very important? Because they have the capacity to transport the water. That means that it can easily absorb, and it is very sensitive to, and it is also very easy to procure also. That's why this becomes an important study for us. Gallbladder is a blind sac that we all know, and it allows assessment of water transport by relatively simple gravimetric technique. What is the gravimetric technique? The gravimetric technique is always, it is trying to descend from the upper part to the lower part. That means from the upper part to the lower part. This is called the gravity. Gravity, you have heard about the gravity force. The earth has got the gravity powers of it. And whatever things it has to fall on the ground. That means fall on the inside, inner part. So this is the gravity. And this is the purpose for having the lining. So it don't lose. What is the function then now for this epithelium? It don't lose the, let the water to enter into your this upper area or the outer area. That is the guts. And suppose when there is a problem, what happens? Usually the water gets accumulated in the upper area, and this is known as the dropsical condition. We all have heard about the dropsy, or dropsy, that the swelling, the which is palpable and which can reduce by pressure only. And this is also known as the SIT. And in most of the cancerous cases, the last stage and terminal stages drop. This epithelium starts losing its function and capacity, and water gets accumulated into the entire abdomen. So this is the purpose for this epithelial lining, to keep the water and do not allow the water to go in the inner part of the body. This is important things that you must keep in mind for the functions of the. I'm trying to tell you because this is the area where most of us are getting affected, and it is also related to your life, because we are supposed to have a functioning problem, functional digestion problems, and the things that is coming from the outside has to be transported properly. This is the idea for the maintaining this. Then it is absorptive epithelium that functions to concentrate sodium salt of bile duct by near isotonic fluid absorption from the gallbladder lumen. Okay, so it keeps the sodium salt in a balance bile duct in an isotonic tonic fluids. That means it don't get the pH level is maintained. Transcellular water flux across highly water permeable apical and basolateral cells membrane is the prevailing view on the mechanism of fluid absorption across the gallbladder epithelium. Now, function of the epithelial lining is the protection. That is, epithelial tissue protects several aspects of your body. For example, your skin is made of the epithelial tissue and protects the tissue deeper into your body, such as blood vessels, muscles, and internal organs. The cilia on the epithelial cells, cilia, that is the hair-like lining on the epithelial cells that line your intestine, protect the rest of your body from the intestinal bacteria. Okay, so it don't allow the bacteria to enter into your into the tissue. It only flows. So the flora, bacterial flora, is maintained. Then secretion. Secretion means epithelial tissue in the glands, that is the glandular epithelium, can secrete enzymes, hormones that is useful for the life. So secretion of the enzymes. Suppose it is in the gastric system, so gastric juice and enzymes are produced, and this is the this comes through the epithelial line. Then absorption. So also like the intestine, lungs, blood area, they have the epithelial lining, so that the nutrients like food that we eat, water that we drink, and the air that we inhale, they get absorbed into the body. So it has so many beautiful functions are there to protect you. Then it is also responsible for excretion. That means the removal of the waste product into your body. So kidney excrete the waste, epithelium, fat glands excrete the fats, and the large intestine and rectum, it excretes your fecal matter. Then filtration. Epithelium of the respiratory tract filters out the dirt and particles and clean the air that you breathe. So whatever the air that you are inhaling, that is whatever the toxic substance, it gets checked at the filtration point of the epithelium. So beautiful functions are there. Then diffusion. Diffusion means transportation from one side. So simple squamous epithelial cells form a membrane that allows selective diffusion of material to pass. Diffusion helps with filtration, absorption, and but diffusion is a process that we know that from higher concentration to the lower concentration, and the things has to move. So then sensory reception, and then also if a squamous epithelial cells, these are very sensitive cells, and you might have heard about the squamous cell carcinoma, and this is that is important. So this medicines become an important for applicability for the cancer cases. Then sensory receptors, sensory nerves ending that are embedded in the epithelial tissue allow your body to receive outside sensory stimuli. It's okay. Then condition that can affect your tissue, epithelial. One of the biggest concerns with the epithelium tissue is the potential for malignancy development as adenocarcinoma or papillary thyroid carcinoma. So most of the cancer that arises in our body, in the stomach or any area, it is because of it first has to affect the epithelial cells. So epithelial cells are very much sensitive and very much prone to become the cancerous or the malignant. So it is responsible for the different types of the cancer. It is responsible for the asthma. It is responsible for the celiac disease. It is responsible for the human papillovirus, HPV, and the vertigo. So these are the very important things. So cholesterinum, its chemical formula is C6H44O-oxy-O. Late Dr. Wilhelm Amlet of Berlin, we were indebted for the first mention of this remedy. So it says Wilhelm Amlet of the Berlin, he thought about this medicine. Then you may be knowing that Burnett was the pioneer in the study of the nosors and the sarcos. So Burnett obtained the suggestions and used the low potency with more or less success for several years. Descriptions which he gives us in his disease of the liver. So in the disease of the liver, by the Burnett, you can read that there is usefulness of this material. Then Swan, another scientist, appears to have taken the hints from Dr. Burnett's work and potentized the remedy using the gallstone for its preparation. Then Swan work was necessarily empirical, that is almost specific for gallstone colic, relieves the distress at once. Now this is the finding that it can remove the stone in your gallbladder, and he says that it is almost specific. Do not go by this lining, because this lining is the homeopathic understanding. There is no medication that can be taken as a specific medicine until and unless other things also correspond with this. Then other observations about this medicines are that England reports some cure of gallstone colic and other disease of the liver in the medical advance, that is the page number 549, August 1908, that arrives at the following conclusion: in gallbladder colic, the patient suffers so severely that it is almost impossible to obtain symptoms. In such a case, when I cannot give a well-selected remedy of late, I rely on cholesterinum, and thus for it has never failed. Now, this is the reading of when you are in the cases of the emergency, when you don't have any other idea coming up, let us try with the cholesterinum. So it should have a proving. Until then, it can be used instead of morphine in case when the symptoms cannot be obtained for proper. So now, what does it mean? It only means that the proving is not so complete for about this medicine. So it requires more and more proving to get the better utility of these medicines. So whatever the symptoms that is available about this medicine are only random and pathologic, and understanding about the function of the epithelium cells. So when a case of routine work is necessary, as sometimes I believe the homeopathic case should be, no, this is a guesswork. very improbable that a person suffering from gallstone colic will wait for a longer time for the physician to study the case. Then Clark, he writes that it is found in the blood, brain, and yolk of eggs, seeds, and buds of the plant, but it is abundant in the bile and biliary calculi. It occurs in the form of crystal with the mother of pearl lusters and is fatty to the touch. It is soluble in both water and both alcohol and tea. Then Amte claimed to have derived great advantages from its use in cases diagnosed as cancer of the liver or in such obstinate engorgement that malignancy was suspected. Burnett claims to have twice cured cancer of the liver with it in a hepatic engorgement that by region they intractable and slow yielding to well-selected remedy makes to think interrogatively of the cancer. Now, now this is a case report by English. The symptoms are frequent attack of gallstones involving liver and region of the stomach. Attacks come suddenly and ceases suddenly. Now, this is it comes suddenly and it goes suddenly. So this is important. You can get this rubric in the report. Appearing suddenly, disappearing suddenly. There are rubrics like this: appearing suddenly, or appearing gradually and disappearing suddenly, or vice versa. Pain is pushing in the region of the gall duct. Vomit, much odorless hot water. Very pale, then become yellow. Marked acidity of the stomach since last attack. Erratic rheumatic pain aggravated by damp, rainy weather. No appetite, food nauseates. Region of liver sore, sensitive to touch or aggravate. Jar. Jar means the slightest jerk will aggravate, and it is aggravated by lying on the sides. The attack, profuse urine, the scanty and dark sins. Tongue coated dirty, yellowish or white. Heart become very weak, can hardly feel the pulse. Very weak, unable to breathe deeply. This woman had practically cured in a year under various potency of Cholesterinum from the 2 mm to the tongue. So this is the way, on these symptoms basis, English cured a case woman of the 60 years age who was suffering from the gallstone. Then English, this is another case of the man of the 64. 3 years has been passing gallstones. So vomit piles and becomes very yellow. Has received morphine which causes such disastrous after effects that he is always from the business nearly a week. With one attack was in bed several weeks and required long time after to recover from the bad effect. Liver very sensitive and sore, pressing in front of or behind very painful, worse in region of the gall duct, then bending on or sudden motions aggravate. This is also sudden motion aggravate, that is the jarring phase. Had a severe attack of all that is fever in the webas bottom of the radial. It is a large portly man, Cholesterinum 2 and 2 mm, not very only promptly relieved acute attack, but has also a tactical cure. So Cholesterinum for cancer of the liver, now I am summarizing it: obstinate hepatic involvement, burning pain inside on walking, hold his hand side on side, hurts him so, opacity like patient coming like that, holding the area, opacity of the viscous, jaundice, and gallstone. Cholesterinum is the physiological opponent of lecithin. Now, this is opposite to the lecithinum that you can study the later on. But both seems to play some unknown part in the growth of tumor, gallstone, and the insomnia. Cholesterinum, the relationship color of soda in homeopathy, it can be compared with that. Epithelial is an interesting study of the action of bile and salt in hepatic affection, analyzed a number of experiments by leading authorities with the object of determining this action and concludes that the chlorochlate of soda homeopathy has a useful remedy against form of the isoglobular anemia. The claim that it is pathogenesis and toxicity clearly indicates its value and that it should also serve as a remedy in case of hypertrophy of the spleen and the ganglion. He calls our attention to the fact that it produces dyspepsia, the chain stroke rhythm, acute pulmonary edema, and intense exaggerations of the cardiac pulsation offers a good field for clinical studies and experimentation of great interest which may give the total results and important results. So now just I'm coming to the some of the reported symptoms: pain in the temple region, eye inflammations, conjunctiva, throat, swallowing difficult, histamine dilution is effective against histamine and allergic reactions. It is useful in histaminic mind allergic reactions, itching, congestion, bronchial agitation, swellings, and the eyes. So I think this much is the available data that we have from. I have tried to go through several information and I have tried collected this because I told you that this is very not a randomly proved medicine. Randomly, that is observational proving are there. Random information they are there. So we have tried to collect the random. So we require, it needs more and more collection of the data so that we can get into the. So, but which type of the medicines are useful, as already mentioned by some of the authors here, that when you don't have the time to think, when you don't have the idea what to do, at that time you can try using this. So thank you very much for this. And with this, I conclude my sessions, and I hope we can have more understanding. So thank you. I think we have come to an end of this session, and so with this, I conclude my session.